Hello viewers, welcome to the YouTube channel Lex Consilium Foundation. I'm Major General Neelendra Kumar for the playlist Going Strong. And our guest today is Commodore Ranjeet Rai, who's well known to you. He's appeared on this channel numerous times and he's a naval historian, a naval author, apart from being a very senior officer in the Navy, having held the appointments of Director of Naval Intelligence and Naval Operations. Welcome, Commodore. And I see today you with a cap and goggles. These are different. This cap we had not seen earlier on this channel at least. Would you like to share with the viewers the significance of this cap?
Thank you, General. You bring back history. You bring back geography, besides your legal update. Because history and geography make a nation. The Indian Navy, you asked me to talk about the 1960s. I'm lucky I'm one of the surviving few. What we saw of the Navy. Admiral Gorshkov, as a sub-lieutenant, I was his liaison officer, he presented me this cap. Our Navy was Russian. Our ships had come from Russia.
Okay.
So I thought I'll put it on to tell people that in the 60s, we were beholden to the Russian Navy. And therefore, you will also said you must talk about film stars. Because we
I'll
lived
come
in
to that
Bombay.
because you spoke about 60s and I'll take you to slightly before the 60s because the decade that was immediately preceding the 60s in 50s and that's the time of your entry in the Indian Navy as midshipman, before that in the NDA. And particularly I would like to request you to speak about the film star Nutan. She was married into Navy and those were the formative years, early years of your service. And you had mentioned once, I remember, that you had met her, also was invited by her for a meal, for a dinner. Please share those memories with the audience here.
Yes, General. Bombay was in the singing 60s. There was prohibition in Bombay.
Okay.
Because it was a follow-up of Shri Morarji Desai and Mahatma Gandhi. So the Navy was in demand because our ships, there was no prohibition. Even on merchant ships which came into harbor, they had to seal their liquor, but at sea there was no prohibition for the merchant navy in harbor. So the Indian Navy was in the living 60s and 50s in Bombay, where we came into contact with film stars. We had officers who went out with a Tate 555 cigarette tin in style and walked down Colaba. Well, film stars were the age of that day. Another thing was the entertainment then was film. Every station, the Navy base in Colaba had a cinema hall.
Okay.
The naval base in Cochin had a cinema hall. Every army station had a cinema hall. So the Navy was very well aware of what are stars. And it so happened that in 1962, as a young lieutenant, I went on board a party which used to take place every 10 days and evening, but it was cocktails, no dinner.
Okay.
It was to bring up camaraderie between the officers. And that day, another with me, Sabarwal, saw a young, pretty lady in white sari, very simply dressed, sitting on a grating. In the Navy, we don't have tables. We have gratings. And we somehow said that she looks familiar.
Yes.
He was familiar with film stars. And he said, that is Nutan.
Okay.
She's married to Lieutenant Commander Behel, who's the engineer officer of Rana. Now, I told you in 1961 it was. So both of us, after probably some spirited filling, decided to go up to her and say, "Ma'am, how are you?" We went up and found she was educated in Villa Teresa, Bombay.
Okay.
Her English was outstanding. She started a conversation. And when others were trying to keep away from Nutan, because, Nutan is Nutan. You just don't go up to her. And Lieutenant Commander Behel came along and said, "Boys, what are you up to?" And we said, "No, sir, we are talking to ma'am." And she said, "I'm having a very pleasant conversation."
Okay.
Sabarwal knew about her movies
Sujata.
and 80 movies she has taken part. I'm sorry, I'm not very well versed, but I did know who Nutan was.
Yes.
And she had Filmfare Awards. So all I used to read in those days was the book, a magazine called Filmfare. And lo and behold, the party was coming to an end. And because Nutan was there, and Lieutenant Commander Bear, Lieutenant Commander Engineer Officer Rana was a very important post. The
Rajneesh
R-class
Bahel.
destroyers,
Yes.
Rajneesh Bahel. Lieutenant Commander Rajneesh Bahel was engineer officer of an R-class destroyer. Every senior officer, whether it is Qatari, whether it is Soman, or whether it's any other Darbari, they have commanded R-class ships.
Okay.
They were destroyers. So therefore, anybody serving on an R-class, he was a class above.
Okay.
So the stewards came and then served us more drinks. And we were in a rather good mood. And then Jana Mana Gana was played, the party was over. And you know what Nutan said? Why don't we ask these two young boys to have dinner with us?
Okay.
So I still remember Bell had no option, but he had to pick us, these two junior officers, and they took us to the Taj.
Immediately after this
Yes,
cocktail.
yes. It was normal standing routine that you had cocktails up to 8:15. Officers went back to their wardroom. Other officers went home. It was a beautiful routine, and we met each other. We discussed our ships. We discussed professional things. But that day, we met Nutan. Oh, she
Great.
was simply a simple dressed lady, white sari, very lovely earrings, and no gold at all. And while other ladies did have gold on them. So I must say, we had a very pleasant dinner. We were on very good behavior. And then Lieutenant Commander Behel, I think he had a sporty car. He dropped us back on our ships. So I still remember that very, very clearly. But I know that during that period, there were many nuptials between naval officers and stars.
Before you go to them, can you in the timeline indicate when this likely would have happened?
This was exactly in early 1961.
So by
59.
that time,
59, they had got married, I think,
Yes.
end of 59. And then he left the Navy after that.
Yes,
But
by then Nutan had already won 2 awards, Filmfare Awards for the Best Actress. That was in Seema 1955, Sujata in 1959, and you met in 61. And then she went on to win 3 more awards. That was Bandini in 63, Milan in 67, and Main Tulsi Tere Angan Ki, that was the last in 1978. Now that's something quite extraordinary, and I don't think many officers in the military and even in Navy can boast that they were invited to a dinner by Nutan and Lieutenant Commander Rajneesh Bahel. Thank you very much.